So I mean, you're unusual.
Well, I didn't want to upset anyone, and I just switched.
Wow. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? If you were like me, a survivor of more than 2 decades of narcissistic abuse, then that 2.5 minutes was probably just as hard for you to watch as it was for me to watch. Why? Well, for a few reasons. For those who are new here, my name is EB. I'm an NLPMP and certified life coach, and I have more than 2 decades experience surviving narcissistic abuse. And I can't help but to see similar patterns in that conversation between Paris and her mother, Kathy. The first things that really struck me was how frequently Kathy told Paris that she was weird, that she was unusual. She even goes as far as to tell Paris that she's an alien. Why? Because Paris is opening up. She has shared in her book some really terrifying, horrible, heartbreaking stories about things that happened to her. And this is her mom saying, "Why didn't you come and tell me these things?" Paris says, "I didn't feel safe telling you those things. You would have gotten really mad at me, so I hid them and I acted out." To which Kathy says, "That's weird," and then compares her to all of her siblings and herself and Paris's grandmother. There are so many things that happen in this conversation that are destructive, that are harmful, that are just plain wrong. Kathy is gaslighting Paris by telling her, "You're weird for not coming to me." She's making it even worse when she doubles down and compares Paris to her older sibling Nikki and to her male siblings as well. And that's the point. Instead of Kathy saying, "Wow, I failed, I should have been a safe space for you as a mother," she's turning around and making everything Paris's fault, and even going so far as to justify sending Paris to a torture camp as a teenager. The point of the comparisons, the point of calling Paris weird, the point of even going so far as to rewrite history by Kathy saying she would have gone to her mom with something like that, all of that is to paint Paris as the bad one, as the one who should be blamed, so that Kathy doesn't have to take any responsibility for any way that she's treated Paris or how Paris would have reacted to her throughout her life. And frankly, the timid way in which Nikki kind of half-heartedly stands up for Paris is pretty telling as well. Could we be looking at a golden child who doesn't want to lose their position? As much as I loved Kathy's performance on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I got to admit the red flag. And this, coupled with her excommunicating Kyle every time she gets an ant in her bonnet, it's a big red flag. And especially in last week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, when Kyle said, "Yeah, if I'm not speaking to my sister, I'm not allowed to speak to my nieces or anyone else either." Very telling in a narcissistic family. If you're out with a narcissist, you're out with everybody. So what did you think? What did you think about this conversation? Go back and watch that clip and let me know. Do you see the gaslighting? Do you see the projections? Do you see the manipulation, the denial, the diminishment? Do you see any patterns of a narcissistic family? I don't know, but it seems like the big Kathy apple don't fall far from the little Kathy tree. Let me know what you think in the comments.